Hey you guys, Pretty Tarot YouTube channel here. And so of course I told you guys I was going to not only do readings, but I was going to continue to make videos that I feel will help you guys with whatever spiritual journeys you have in this life and with whatever personal issues you may have going on. Because like I said, I noticed that a lot of people would comment over the time since I've started this channel. I started this channel like back in February or whatever. Um, I've noticed a lot of different kind of comments, and I've noticed things in the chats when I do have the live videos, and I've noticed it on other people's channels. And I noticed, like I said, there's a lot of people that have a lot of things going on personally, and I decided I can't just help you guys through doing the readings. I also need to be able to help you guys through using my background experience in psychology, since that's what I majored in, and also in just my willingness to care about others and be helpful to others, okay? And whatever experiences that I have and the things that I know of. So this video may be a long one, so fast forward it by listening to it in fast motion. So you go to your settings, click on speed, and put the video on either 1.5 or times 2, so 2x, or like I said 1.5, and they'll speed the video up where you can listen to it in half the time at least. That way you can hear the whole message and not feel like, oh gosh, this video is long, because it's worth paying attention to the things that I'm saying in these videos. Disclaimer, I am not a professional therapist, counselor, or psychologist or psychiatrist. I majored in psychology, and I have interpersonal skills experience with people, and I'm speaking from life experiences and life experiences of others that I know, and from my own knowledge and wisdom. And as a spiritual person, I'm also speaking from that wisdom as well. So do take what you can from the videos that you find will be helpful, but I'm not responsible for any choices or decisions that you guys make. And it's the same claim that I make with my tarot readings as well, okay? I can't give you legal advice. I'm not a lawyer, things like that, okay? So keep that in mind. Use good common sense. But what I want to talk about real quick is the married men, and situations in which some of you may find yourself being the other woman or a side chick. Now, for granted, some of a lot of you will say, well, I'm not part of none of that. I'm not doing none of that. Some of you don't even know that you're the side chick or the other woman. And this is how I know, because I see a lot of comments in not just my videos, but also in other tarot reader and psychics videos, where women are saying, because this is a video for women. This is a video for women. Sorry guys, I'll do a video for you guys later, but this is a video for the women, because this needs to be said. I'll see many of you admitting that you're dealing with married men, and then I'll see others saying that a guy ghosted you, or a guy's been inconsistent with you, or a guy's been funny with you, and y'all acting like you don't know why. Some of you assume that the guy you're dealing with was single. No. Or you assume he's just maybe dealing with other people, but you're not realizing how deep in he is with other people. Whereas others of you are already familiar. Now, this video is not meant to judge anyone. So I'm coming with a very unbiased opinion, really. I'm not judging anyone. I'm just going to keep it real as much as possible. Okay? I am speaking from experience of my own. I'm speaking from experience of others that I know. I'm not going to put out there what my specific experiences are. I might, but it's not my intention to, because I do want to keep my life private. But and I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to mention any names, but like I said, I know people who've gone through some things, and I've been through some things. And so, like I said, I feel like I would do you guys a disjustice to not speak up and say something. Now, like I said, some of you, for those of you who you're aware you're dealing with a married man, and some of you are, you have this misconception or this idea, or you want to believe that this man is unhappy in his marriage, and that he will leave his wife for you. And that's what you're waiting on, and you believe that you're soulmates. And I'm not saying that you aren't soulmates, but we have a ton of soulmates in this world. Lots of them. We have karmic mates. We have twin souls. But let me tell you something. Just because someone is a twin soul, and I believe we have more than one if you ask me. Okay, I believe we have more than one because I have met them before. But just because you meet someone and you think they are a soulmate or a karmic mate or whatever this is, or you have some sort of soul tie to them, it does not mean that this is the person you should deal with in this moment at this time. It may be that in this lifetime you were meant to cross paths, but you weren't meant to be with each other. Or it could be, the one thing that I would like to say is true is, if something or someone is for you or meant to be, release it, let them go. And whenever they decide they're going to actually become divorced and single again, then that's when you can deal with them. But let them come find you and let them show you proof that they are indeed single again. Can't be they just telling you so. Let them show you the proof. It can't be that they're legally separated. Let them show you the proof. Even if they are, like I said, with men, it's different for women, but with men, and I'm sorry, men, not to judge you guys, not to judge. And all men are not the same. All married men are not the same. So don't any of you married men or you men take this personally. But I have to look out for these women because I see this happen too much all the time. A man could tell you he's going to leave his wife. He's unhappy with her. She isn't doing this. She isn't doing that. And let me tell you something. A man can make himself truly look down and out. And he might actually be feeling down and out. But it doesn't actually mean his perception of how he feels or how he views his wife or partner is actual reality. And let me tell you why. Because I have seen this with couples that I actually know. Okay? And I've experienced this before where the man will sit there and make claims to other women, anyone who is willing to be vulnerable and open with him. Okay, anyone who's willing to sit and listen to him be vulnerable and open. When a man starts spilling his guts, talking about, oh, my wife, she doesn't do this, she doesn't do that, blah, blah, blah. She's not giving me sex, or she's not giving me enough sex. She's not sweet to me. She's not nice to me. She doesn't do this, she doesn't do that, or she doesn't have a job, or she's not working. Whatever it is that they're complaining about. Oh, she doesn't cook, this and that other. Let me tell you something. She ain't good with the kids. She don't pay no attention to me. 90% of it is bullshit. Excuse my language. But it's the truth. It's only a very small, tiny percentage of these men, these married men, or these men in these relationships or whatever, that claim whatever they're claiming is the actual truth. And the thing about it is, and let me tell you something else. To them, it is their truth. To them, it is their truth. Where they'll tell you, oh, she doesn't give me sex. Or she doesn't give me enough sex. Or she isn't attentive to me. She doesn't cook. She doesn't do this. She's not sweet to me. Blah, blah, blah. She's such a B to me. You know what I'm saying? And I say be a bitch to me or whatever. Let me tell you something. That's their truth. It doesn't mean that is the actual full truth. Okay? What your truth is your truth. No one can tell you how you feel. That's how you feel. That does not mean it's an actual reality. So if you feel bad about, let's say you performed in a talent show and you feel bad about it, you feel like you didn't do so well, but to the audience, you did exceptional, and they're clapping and they're applauding, they're singing your praises. Your view is so different from theirs because it's how you feel on the inside. It's you perceiving your situation that way, and it's what you feel is your truth. And you may feel like, well, they think I did good, but I know I didn't do my best. It's the same thing for these men. They feel the way they feel, and to them it is the truth, but it does not mean it's the actual truth. They always say there's more than one side to a story. There's his story, her story, and then there's the truth, right? take that into account, ladies, and use that kind of good common sense, because it's in reality. I have seen friends, married friends, whose husbands have stepped out on them, and I know the couples well. The husbands, they're my friends, I know them well. I've seen it happen to me in relationships, okay? I've seen it happen in a marriage before. I've seen it. And they'll tell the other woman because the other woman wants to be there for him. The other woman wants to be his rock. The other woman wants to be of comfort to him. The other woman wants to be a good person. And the other woman may be a good person, but she just don't know any different. She don't know any better. And if you're the other woman, pay attention to what I'm telling you. I'm not judging you. Many of you are being deceived. You know what I'm saying? Because one of my friends, she was giving this, she told me, she would always tell me about it, because, you know, really good friends talk to each other, you know, and she'd tell me, we're always, you know, she found out her husband was cheating, and she got the opportunity to talk to other women. Let me tell you something. A lot of times the wife ends up finding about the other woman. Sometimes she will talk to the other woman, or the other woman will talk to her and make her presence known. And sometimes the wife just won't even bother because she knows already what's going on. But she talked to you know, her husband cheated on her several times, different women. And she talked to these women. She got the chance to talk to these women because these women had you know, some of them had the nerve to present themselves and try to, you know, reprimand her and tell her, you're not treating your husband well. You're not giving him sex. You're not doing this and that. You're leeching off him, this and another. When it comes to find out, she you know, she said, and I told my friend, I said, don't judge these women. I know you want to be angry with other women, but don't be angry with them, because they don't know any better. They truly don't, because they only know what your husband has told them. They only know what these men tell them. And they want to believe what these men are telling them because they are interested in these men. And they like these men. And some of you are out here are vulnerable. Not all of you, but some of you are. Those of you who are not vulnerable, you may be able to see through this married man who's not being 100% honest, or who's not 100% in touch with truth or reality, okay? And he'd tell these women his wife wasn't giving him enough sex. My friend wasn't giving him enough sex, and she wasn't paying attention to him, and this and that and other. Now, what it came down to was she had to let these women know, oh, he's getting plenty of sex. That's what infuriated my friend the most. And I know them. They were freaky. They were always doing something, especially her. And she bent over backwards for this man, okay, to please him in and out of the bedroom. So he really had no excuse. What it turned out is he's a sex addict, okay, a sex addict. Not only that, but he was emotionally vulnerable himself, because the one thing that she probably didn't do was cater to his emotional side more. Okay, because he was a water sign and she was a fire sign. And, you know, water signs have a deeper emotional need than the other signs do, okay? And she didn't realize this. However, it didn't mean that she never catered to his emotional side, just probably not as much as what he felt was enough for him. So that's something she had to work on with him, but it doesn't mean she wasn't a good wife. She cooked for him all the time, gave him sex all the time, tons of it, and was always doing new exciting things with him in the bedroom and out of the bedroom. They have beautiful children together, a beautiful home, a brand new home, and his career came from her family business. Yet the other woman is telling her, well, he says you're leeching off of him. That made her furious, my friend, because she's like, excuse me? My husband's career is because of my family's business. My family owns a business, owns and runs a successful business, and he works for our business. So what are you talking about? And she helps with that business. Just because she's a stay-at-home wife doesn't mean she also doesn't help with the family business. Even if she didn't help with the family business, that's her family's legacy that he is benefiting from. Therefore, he's able to provide as well as he had for their family. However, the other woman didn't know this. Why? Because she only knew what the husband was telling her in pity, to draw pity to himself, in order for her to feel sorry for him, so that she'll open up to him and his vulnerability and become vulnerable with him, and then have a sexual relationship with him, and bond with him in a way that she thinks she's being there for him. And maybe she is being there for him because his ingratitude allowed him to feel vulnerable in that way. His sex addiction allowed him to feel vulnerable in that way, to where he feel like he's validated to behave this way. And I told my friend, don't be angry at the other women. They only know what they're told, and they don't know any better. And a lot of women out here, if they are vulnerable themselves, they want love, they want a man to show them attention, they want sex, this and that and other, and won't think twice about, well, maybe there's more to the other picture. Sometimes women don't care. Sometimes women don't care because they feel like, well, I deserve love too. And like I said, it's not to judge any of you or to judge the other woman or even judge other men, but this is the reality. This is a scenario all the time. Okay? Sometimes these men are out here and they won't even tell you they're married. They just be out here pretending like they're single. But they'll tell you, I love you. They'll, try to make, they'll make you feel special or make you feel like you are dating them. But in reality, you're not actually dating them. You think you're dating them, but it turns out they know you're not dating them because they know they're committed elsewhere. And the moment you start asking those questions, are you married? Are you with someone else? Do you have kids? What's really going on? They'll dodge those questions, or they'll just flat out tell you no if they have not much consciousness or they just don't really care, Not a judgment, it's just the truth. So some of you have to be careful that you're not dealing with men who you don't even aware. But like I said, for those of you who are aware, let's say you're dealing with a man who he's telling you he's so unhappy he's going to leave. Like he's telling you he only married her because he got her pregnant and he wanted to do the right thing. There are plenty of situations out there that are just like that. So it's not to say that isn't his truth. That may very well have been the reason he married the woman, and then it turned out it just wasn't working out. However, that does not mean he may actually leave. He may feel like he want to leave, but he's not going to do it if you're there making him happy. I know a situation with another friend, and I apologize to her and hope she knows that I'm using these things as examples because I want to help other women. I want to help other women avoid these things because it's been very hurtful and painful to her, very confusing, very up and down. She's a good person. I know her very well, so I know she didn't just go out and seek a married man just because she just wanted to go out and seek one. It just happened to be, it was just a situation where, I'll be honest with you, I think she was in a vulnerable place and she felt like, she wants love, because at some point we all want love. We all want it. And, if you feel like you're not having the best dating experiences or you just happen, like I said, be vulnerable and that person be vulnerable, that's usually how a lot of these situations come about. Vulnerability, or like I said, that desire for love, but maybe it has been there. That breeds vulnerability in a way that could be potentially dangerous. I've been there before. And I'm not saying that I dated a married man. I've had a crush or infatuation on one because I didn't know they were married at first because they weren't wearing their ring. There's a lot of men and a lot of people out here, they're not wearing rings. Ring used to be a status symbol for letting other people know, hey, I'm married, so I'm off limits. But people don't feel the need to follow the social norms anymore. They're doing their own thing, and it's no judgment to them. It's just some people, they don't like jewelry. Some people, they can't stand rings. Some people feel like wearing a ring, letting people know is trouble, because you have people out here who will chase married people. Some people, they just whatever reasons they're not wearing their ring. You do have people who intentionally don't wear them because they don't want people to know they're married for whatever the reason. Okay? And maybe it is because they feel like they got caught up in marrying someone, the wrong person, they feel, for the wrong reasons, though they were trying to do the right thing, if they had a kid with someone. So no judgment to the guy. No judgment to my friend. But, you know, it ended up being a situation where he gave her this pity story that he wanted to leave. And it's not that we didn't believe he wanted to leave. We believe him. I believe him. She believed him. But he struggled with doing so. And it's yet to be determined if he ever will or not, because, for one, he's comfortable. Because now that he has pulled my friend in, she struggles to let him go because she actually loves him. And she never intended to fall in love with him like that, thinking that he would stay. It was because she had the impression, based off of what he told her, that he was actually serious about leaving and was going to leave. And he just needed to work some things out legally, or to let the wife know, or whatever. The wife knows, but the wife's not willing to let go. And so that's the other thing people have to account for when you're dealing with a married man. Women, ladies, pay attention. Sometimes when the wife finds out, or a lot of times, you know, I don't want to say a lot of times, but in the cases I've seen, a lot of times the women, they may be mad, and they you know, they may even think, well, I'm going to divorce him, but a lot of times they end up fighting for their man. Because they have children together, or because they have years together, they have memories together, there's real love there. They have a home together, investments, you name it, you know. And when you have those kind of commitments and those kind of investments with someone, you're not as easily willing to let go of the situation over someone else coming into the situation. Because what they always tell you, when you're married, you're supposed to work things through, work things out, because nothing's perfect, and it's for better or for worse. So you guys are up against that. If you're dealing with a married man and you think he's going to leave your wife, this man couldn't do it. He didn't want to break his wife's heart, because he realized she still loved him, she still cared. And when she realized he was cheating, she started stepping her game up. But, and I know there's some women, they'll say, well, shoot, my man cheats on me, my husband cheats on me, I'm out. And that's great if that's what you decide to do. But you have some women, they choose to work things out with their husband. And the husbands choose to work things out with their wives. And that's great too if they want to work things out. There's no right or wrong answer for anyone. You know, only if you're being physically abused would I say you should leave somebody, and, you know, divorce them or whatever. But, or if you just really feel like the love is not there anymore, you don't want to be there anymore. But each to their own and what they decide to do. Only you know what you can do or what you should do in a situation. If you don't, pray about it, meditate on it. But yeah, so this guy, he couldn't bear the thought of breaking his wife's heart. He couldn't stand the thought of breaking my friend's heart either. But when he had to pick between the two, he was already comfortable where he was at. He ended up telling her, hey, I'm really sorry, but I actually enjoy spending time with my wife and my kid. And I get that, because I see it all the time with married people, married friends, you know, co-workers, whatever. You can't put a value on how someone is telling you how they feel versus what they actually feel and what they're actually dealing with. They may say, well, I feel like this, but it doesn't mean they're going to actually stay true to that. Not because they don't mean to necessarily deceive someone, but because it's difficult. It's a complicated situation. It's complicated. It's not black or white like what I once thought. It's not black or white like what anyone I know who's ever been caught in these situations ever thought. Okay? It's never black and white. You know, when I started crushing or infatuated with a married man that I didn't realize was married until later on, and I thought I had did my research on him and everything to make sure he wasn't married, but I just kept thinking, I had this gut feeling that, he's too good to be true. There's no way he's single. There's no way. You know what I'm saying? I should have followed that gut feeling, because that gut feeling kept just getting at me, but I couldn't find the proof. Couldn't find it until they presented it. So I'm not judging them because they did, you know, be honest, because I let them know I liked them, and they did at some point be honest and say, hey, yeah, you know, they didn't, you know, they let me know or whatever. But boy, was it hard to turn the feelings off. The good thing was I didn't allow myself to get involved. with them. So we didn't date or anything like that. We didn't date. We didn't have any involvement, nothing like that. But it was just, it sucked to have a crush on someone or be infatuated with someone who, you know, was married or whatever. And I knew, of course, better, but it was like, feelings are not black and white. People try to make it like, oh, well, if you find out somebody's married, stop liking them. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. If you really like someone or have feelings for them, you can't just cut them off. If you're in love with someone, you just can't just cut it off. It takes effort and it takes time. You know, it takes effort, it takes time. You can have all the values and morals in the world like I did. It doesn't mean you're going to find that person any less attractive just because you realize, especially if you're in a vulnerable state. I was in a very vulnerable state. I had gotten out of a crappy relationship. In fact, 2 crappy relationships in those prior years to me having met that person, and it left me vulnerable because I didn't heal. I didn't fully heal. Good news was having a crush on that guy made me get over my exes, you know. So it was a catch-22, and I guess maybe I wasn't willing to let that feeling go. But hey, we're having tremors here. The region I live in, we have tremors from time to time. Creeps me out, but anyway. Yeah, but I'm proud of myself for having not got involved with that person. You know, I had people to judge me. How can you have a crush on a married person? I didn't know they were married at first. I didn't know. They weren't wearing a ring. They didn't have any pictures at their desk of them and their wife together and their kid and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's because I found out they were having marital issues. They were having a rocky marriage. And at some point they ended up going to therapy and working it out. But eventually that marriage didn't work out. So the stage that I caught them at, they were in a stage of, they were in a rocky marriage that they were trying to work out, but it wasn't a guarantee. You know, they held on for the next few years, and then eventually it just fell apart or whatever. And I heard they're recently divorced. So, at the time, I decided let it, knowing what I realized, if they're meant to be, I released them, and one day, I'll be nice. Hi, how you doing? Doing good? Okay, great. And one day, if they're single again, they would find me. So it's one of those things. And do they? They found me. They found me. But you flip things around, and it's like, well, anyway. Back to the fact that I want to touch upon, again, you single ladies out here who don't realize you are the other woman. Okay? One of the reasons why you guys don't realize you're the other woman is because, like I said, you're seeing the same symptoms from the married men that you're seeing from a lot of the single guys out here who are full of crap, where they're inconsistent. They seem to act like they just want the sex, or they just want to have fun, or they're dating around, or whatever, third-party situations, blah, 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 or they acting like players, whatever it is. I'm going to tell you something right now. Some of these guys are out here married and you don't even know it. And they're showing the same symptoms as a single guy who's full of it. Okay? And it's sad, but it's the truth. Is it any fault on yours that you didn't know? Yes and no. Not judging you, but yes and no. You guys need to treat all these men the same out here, whether you're aware they're married or not. Don't make it easy for these guys to get in your good graces so easy. Make these men court you. People want to act like, oh, it's 2018, courting is so old-fashioned, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something. Courting existed for a reason, and I'm going to tell you why. If a man is truly interested in you, he will seek you out. But he will have to invest his time and his effort to do so, okay? That includes him spending his money on you to take you on a date. I know all you independent women out here are acting like, I don't need a man to pay for a date for me or to take me on a date. Foolishness. This is one reason why men are out here being players, whether they're single or married. It's because you guys are so independent, you're not allowing a man to do what he should do, which would help weed out the ones who probably you shouldn't even be dating at all. Because let me tell you something right now. Now, you got people out here, if they really want to cheat and go through all the changes, they will go through the works. They'll have a second phone, a second credit card to spend money on dates for you and this and that other. But most married men, they got a shared joint account with their wives, joint credit cards, you name it. So it's kind of, they might would have to pull some cash out of the account to go take you on dates. But even if they did, you think their wives aren't paying attention? All the married women I know, they pay attention to accounts. Even in relationships where I've been in, where we're living together and we got a joint account together, and this and other kid together, whatever. Don't think I'm not looking at receipts. I'm not looking at the account. I did. And that's how you know something's going on. Married women especially look. They looking. My friends tell me all the time, they looking to see what they husband's spending, what they taking out of the account, and asking so the money you took out of ATM, what you doing with it? What you doing with it? Especially if it's being consistent on a certain level, and they can't explain where that money's going to. A married man does not have the ability, as easily as a single man, to take you out on proper dates and to court you properly and things. Okay? You got some, they can pull these games, okay? They're going to be the men who, maybe they're more experienced in this, or maybe they got more money to play around with, or maybe they real alpha or something, so maybe their wives don't have the ability to question them. I don't know. But that's not the case in most scenarios. Also, if this dude will not take you back to his place at any point, and he always want to come to your place, or always want to meet up in hotels or in the parking lot or the park or something else that just seems like, to you may think, oh, this is exciting. Oh, he's taking me on trips all the time, and and things like that. And that's when he's getting with you. Because some of y'all may be dealing with a man who got money, so he'll take you on trips and stuff, Others of you, he'll just, like I said, if he broke or something, he might just only meet up with you in the parking lot or at the park or something else that you deem to be adventurous, but it ain't necessarily adventurous. It's really him being sneaky and cheap and not trying to do anything other than getting your pants. You know what I'm saying? Women today are so liberated that you guys are out here. And I'm sorry to tell you guys, as much as women want to be liberated today, you cannot do or behave the way men do. You can't do it. You can't be out here like, well, I just want the sex. I just want to enjoy myself. I just want to have fun. You telling yourselves that until you start catching feelings for the guy, or you start falling for the guy, and then he don't want nothing more, and you out here giving him the goods and stuff. And this is no judgment. This is me trying to tell you guys, protect yourselves. Don't give of yourselves so easily. Don't make these dudes earn it. Make them put forth the effort. You know what I'm saying? And it's not all about making a man spend his money. It's all about making him go through the changes and the hoops that a married man is not going to continue to go through, unless he really is just what's the word I'm looking for? Pathological. A pathological liar who habitually is determined he is going to cheat. And you got guys out there like that, but it ain't that many, because it takes money to date and to really court someone. It does. And if you married, you're not, trying to have any money traces. You're not trying to have money going out the door to spend, because let me tell you something, a married man, if he's a good one, he's spending his money and sharing his money with his wife, whether she has a job or a stay-at-home wife or whatever. He's sharing and spending his money with his wife. They may have a house together, or they're paying rent at least together. They may own cars together, daycare expenses for the kids and stuff, money for living expenses, buying her things or buying whatever. You know what I'm saying? His money is tied up. It ain't that free. for him to just be out here dating like that. I mean, even if unless he's a rich, wealthy guy who has the ability to just sneak stuff on the side, even then, a rich, wealthy woman knows better, but she just may not care as much because, well, he's wealthy, so she's benefiting, you know. But if he's invested and they got their money together, or especially if he's the provider, that's all the more reason these married women are not going to give up their husbands when they realize he's cheating, because they're invested, whether their money is together or he has money and he's providing. I can't make any of this stuff up, you know what I'm saying? So take the advice, you guys, and whether you think you're dealing with a single guy or not, even if you think you're dealing with single guys, let me tell you something. Single guys are players because they're allowed to be players because you guys are allowing them to do so. Make that dude court you the proper way. You can offer to pay sometime, but a real true gentleman ain't gonna let you pay. He not gonna let you pay. Not until you guys are in a real relationship. A real one. A serious one. And even then, he ain't gonna let you pay all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, he gonna still try to be a gentleman to you. But if a guy is able to date you guys out here and he ain't got to pay for these dates, or you splitting everything half and half with him and offering to pay for everything or this and that, you're making it easier for his pocketbooks for him to go out here and court other women, in which many of you, if you're not, like I said, if he can go from woman to woman and she ain't requiring him to take him on dates and pay for dates, you just hanging with him and getting involved with him in affairs and having sex and things like that, and only talking on the phone, text or whatever, you guys are leaving yourselves wide open for playerism, okay? For players, whether they single or married. And I have to put that out there because that's the truth. That is the straight up truth. You guys got players out here that got money, but like I said, somebody on average, they not trying to blow their money just to be a player. You know, a lot of guys out here, they know it's a lot of free, you know what, I'm not even going to, they know it's a lot of free sex out here to be had for women, because women are out here liberated. And I tell my friends, the ones who keep running the players, close your legs. They never listen. Because the guys get what they want, and then later on, they only show their face when they want to deal with you and stuff like that. These married men will do the same thing to you single women. There was something else I was going to say, if I can remember it, but, oh, yes. I actually heard of a story once where this guy got hurt. He ended up in the hospital, and 20 women showed up, concerned for him. Turns out they all thought they were his girlfriend. You want to know why? And if the one thing all these women had in common was, oh, they're independent women who have their own money. Guess what this guy probably was doing? Letting these independent women help pay for the dates and things or something. Because I can't imagine how these women were all, how he could afford to date 20 women. How? How could he afford to have 20 girlfriends and 20 women? When Valentine's Day comes around, what is he giving them? Cheap little hearts, candy hearts or something, saying, baby, I love you? And seeing them on different days and not taking them out for Valentine's Day? Like, the average guy can't afford that. And this guy wasn't rich. What it came down to was he found women who were so hard-headed and so independent to where they were like, well, you don't have to take me out on dates. You don't have to pay for this or that. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they all played themselves. Literally, they all played themselves. This ain't about gold digging or anything else. If you think that's being a gold digger to make a guy court you old-fashioned, traditional way and pay for the dates and things, and when Valentine's Day come around, if he is your boyfriend or your fiance, that you expect him to do nice things for you, you are a fool. If you think that's being a gold digger. Because that's how you guys get played. Because you're not allowing a guy to invest in you in any form to show you that he's serious. You know what I'm saying? And guys, if you want to avoid getting taken advantage of by women who are just there for the free dates, for the free meals, and this and that other, only ask a woman out if you really are serious about her, if you see there's a real connection and she shows sincere interest. You know how you know if a woman's really sincerely interested? Ask her out for a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or something at Starbucks, or somewhere like a coffee house or a smoothie shop or something, or even for ice cream. If she is interested in chilling with you in that way, over a cup of coffee at Starbucks, a cup of tea, so a smoothie or something like that, then she is sincerely interested in you, and therefore you can start taking her on real dates. Then you don't have to worry about women just using you for free meals and things like that, because I've heard of guys being concerned about that. But ladies, it's okay to do that for a first date, but not on every single date. Okay? I'm going to tell you guys something. I saw a guy on Facebook post about how he literally does Netflix and chill dates. And he gets so much sex, free sex, he says, out of that, by going over these women's houses or letting them come over his. And a lot of times he's going over their house, though, and watching Netflix and chilling with some snacks or something. And then he puts his moves on like a player. And, you know, and he don't have to do much, he said, because women today, he said, they're willing and ready to get to having some sex as fast as the men are. And he does this on a regular basis. No commitment. He ain't looking for no commitment. These women, they be wondering why he don't be half calling them back, or if he does, you know, he ain't giving them the attention they want or whatever, and they start catching feelings. Hello, you guys. This is today's guy. That Netflix and chill. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to do Netflix and chill sometimes. Don't convince yourself, though, that a real relationship gonna come out of that. It's not. Netflix and chill really should only be reserved for actual people who are in actual relationships, and I mean real relationships, where you know it's exclusive. You know what I'm saying? You know it's exclusive. And I wouldn't be caught up in dating, Netflix and chills all the time if you're not living together. You living together, different story. But if you're not living together, Netflix and chill is only okay sometimes, not all the time, because then he still could be out here playing. Anyway, but keep in mind, if he come to your place all the time and you never get to go to his ladies, he might be a married man trying to do that Netflix and chill. Because guess what? He ain't got to spend no money on you. And it's the prime setup to get you to give him some, or make you comfortable enough to give some. And like I said, some women today, you guys are as aggressive as the men. Stop it. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't out there like that, and I'm still not out there like that, because these guys they're not there for the commitment. Many of them are there for the fun and the sex. And if they can get it from you without much investment or effort required by you, they will do it. They will take it and run with it, okay? And then you guys will start catching feelings because you're getting vulnerable, or you wanting to be with somebody, or you thinking you getting somewhere and think you liberated. Oh, I got needs to take care of. You better take care of those needs yourself. Go get you something, you know what I'm saying, a vibrator or something, and let these guys otherwise have to court you the right way if they're serious. Okay, that's one way to avoid becoming the other woman, or avoid being played, period, okay? Because like I said, some of you don't even know you're dealing with married men. You know how I know? A friend of mine's caught her man. She looked in his phone. He actually was foolish enough to be, he didn't delete no text out of his phone. He didn't delete any of the Facebook messages out of his Facebook Messenger. He also had an app called Marco Polo where you can do the video chatting and things like that. Video proof of him on the Marco Polo telling a woman, hey baby, I love you, I miss you. And not just one, several different ones. Hey baby, I love you, I miss you. Text messages, and you name it. I miss you. When are we going to have sex again? When am I going to see you again? I miss you. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? My friend couldn't believe what she saw. She couldn't believe it. And she had to get in his phone, unlock his phone or whatever. because he start locking his phone and things like that. You know, also be careful of a guy who got his phone locked. If his phone is locked, you can't look in his phone. He probably got other people. And I'm not saying, you know, I know women be feeling like, but you shouldn't have to look at his phone, and if you trust him, forget that. He can have another phone, but forget that. You want to make sure somebody's not lollygagging around on you or fooling around or playing you. And if a guy's actually serious about you, he won't think twice about letting you look in his phone if he's actually serious about you and you're the only one he's actually into or trying to deal with or date or be with. Okay? He won't think twice about it. But like I said, my friend found this in her husband's phone. And the other woman, some of them were texting him and sending him Marco Polo, are you married? And and saying, oh, you do remember me. Because it was an indication that this married man, he was coming in and out of their lives when it was convenient for him. Some of them were fed up. Some of them were like, well, where you been? And they were still interested in not knowing that he wasn't single. He was married with a kid. My friend was furious. I know several married people, several of them, and I know their husbands and things like that. You know, a lot of these people, they're college friends, you know, or coworkers or whatever. And I've been in my own situations, you know what I'm saying? Serious relationships or whatever. Like I said, I'm not putting all my business out there. You know, I'm not ashamed, but I can tell you I've been on both sides of the coins. I did tell you a little bit about, like I said, me being infatuated with someone who was married because I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Good, thank God I didn't date them or sleep with them. But, you know, it's just not... it's not hard to miss, you guys, if you have standards. I tell my friends, whether they're single or married or whatever, have standards. You cannot deal with men and not have standards. If you do, you are a fool and you're leaving yourself wide open to get played, to get hurt, to get misused and everything. Okay? Have standards for what you will and won't deal with. And much of the traditional standards of how women used to carry themselves as ladies, and they had expectations that you should court them and you should treat them like ladies, that's a part of it. That's a big part of it. You know, I once went out with someone, and my dad, he felt some kind of way about this guy wanting me to drive my car all the time, and my dad said, I said, well, what's the big deal? And he said, well, what's he got to hide? Why can't he ride you in his car? My dad didn't have to say nothing else. He didn't have to say nothing else, because for all I know, it could have been some women's stuff in the car or a car seat or anything. I actually experienced that once where it was somebody I was dating or with. Well, we were in a relationship, but they just seemed, we were on and off, and I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on with them. Turned out they were leading a double life. Now, whether they were actually married or not, I will never know, because I didn't go far enough to investigate it. Once I saw the car seat in the back of their truck when they picked me up one time, I was livid, angry, upset, and I told them, you know what? I can't trust you. You live a double life. Whose child seat is this in the back of your truck? You know what I'm saying? We weren't even living together anymore at that point, because we were off and on in our relationship. We were off and on for like 4 years. And I said, you know what? This is done. At some point we lived together, but even then I had to question their fidelity. So it's just, you know, when you see the red flags, and there can be red flags in a guy's car. And if he can't ride you in his car, that's an issue. You know what I'm saying? So I understood where my father was coming from. And I told them, I said, you know what? As much as I enjoy driving my car and I don't mind, let's take your car. They said, okay. Okay. You know? Wasn't nothing that I found in their car or anything. Not that I was sitting in there looking all through it. But I'm not gonna lie, I did do a 360 with my head. I did a whole turn my head, the look in the back or whatever, you know. And it's funny. It's funny. I hope they can laugh at this. Hope they can laugh at this. But um, just saying, you know what I'm saying? Use your good common sense. Have standards, ladies. Okay, this video was for the ladies. Even, you know, I'll make a video for the guys at some point, but or just a neutral video that can be for anybody. But this was definitely for the ladies because I'm so concerned about when I see and I saw someone on their own channel. This is a reader. I'm not even gonna say their name. Them talk about how their soulmate is a married person and the wife isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing, and I instantly felt bad for her because I said, even though she should know better as a reader or psychic or whatever, even a reader or psychic cannot see into their own situations, because even we can become blinded to the truth because sometimes you don't want to see the truth because you're at a vulnerable point. And if you feel like you're in love with someone and you feel like there's a connection, you may not want to acknowledge the truth or see the truth and say, you know what, this is not the right situation. I'm going to release them and let them go. And if we're meant to be, they will come back to me single and divorced. You know what I'm saying? That's what she actually should do. Now, whether she's doing that or not, I can't say, but that's up to her. But I was instantly concerned, and I'm concerned anytime I see anyone in any comment section of anyone's video, whether they're mine or someone else's or in a chat or anything. And I'm not talking about my people specifically. So you guys, I'm not judging you. I'm not saying any of you said it, but I'm saying I've seen it before in all the time that I've had my channel. I've had my channel for a year and a few months now, and I've been watching other people's channels for about that long as well. And I see it all the time. Women saying, I'm dealing with a married man. He's my soulmate or my twin soul. Or even if they're not saying that, they're saying I'm dealing with a married man. And he's supposed to leave his wife, but he ain't did it. Trust me, he was never going to do it, you guys. He was never going to do it. And I be feeling bad for you guys because I know in your hearts you believe these men that they were in bad situations and that they really wanted to be with you. But in reality, these guys, some of them, many of them are ungrateful and spoiled. I hate to say it. It's not all of you married men out here, but many are ungrateful, spoiled, and their perception is not reality. You women have to understand that the way a woman thinks or views things is very, very different from the way a man does. Okay, so to a man could say, I ain't had sex in forever. I ain't had sex in a long time. To a man, that could be, he ain't had sex in a couple of days. Or he ain't had sex in a week. Or he ain't had sex in a day. I'm serious. Whereas a woman could say that and she ain't had sex in 6 months or a year or even a few years. Okay? To a man, it's only been weeks or days or a day or a week. You know, you got some men, I've seen them, if you go on these message boards, some of them marriage boards or just dating boards, whatever, just go on some of these boards where they're talking about love, dating, relationships, whatever, sex. Some guys think they should get sex more than once a day. And if they don't get it, supposedly their wives are not treating them good, okay? But if a wife has a job, career, even if she's a stay-at-home mom, that's a real job, by the way. So don't ever convince yourselves, ladies, that a stay-at-home mom and a man tells you, well, his wife doesn't work, she's a stay-at-home mom. Don't ever think she's lazy and that, she ain't doing nothing except sitting around watching soap operas and eating candy or chips and snacks and not doing nothing except take care of some kids. That's a full-time job. She's running errands. She's washing his dirty drawers and laundry, cooking his food, doing the grocery shopping, cleaning the house. Even if she isn't, she's doing something, okay? She's doing something. Taking care of some kids, whatever. Those are real jobs. I've learned I've learned, and other people have learned, I know, that you cannot judge someone by what it is you think they're doing just because they're not going into a regular 9 to 5. But if she does, like I said, whether she has a 9 to 5 job or a stay-at-home mom or whatever, many married women or wives do not have the ability to give their husband sex more than once a day, or even give them sex every single day. But she might give it to him a few times a week, in which a married man should be satisfied with that, knowing that his wife is doing a whole lot. And I'm going to tell you something. Women always do more than the men. Always. What is it Beyonce say in her song? They bear the children, women bear the children, and then get back to business. Strong enough to do it, because women do way more than men do. I'm sorry, men, don't be offended, it's the truth. And a real man knows that. A real man knows that, especially if he's married and he appreciates what his wife does. So that's the other thing. When a man sits there saying, oh, she's not doing this and this, he doesn't have no appreciation for his wife. If he don't have no appreciation for his wife, let's say if he does leave his wife for you, he ain't gonna have no appreciation for you eventually, because he gonna say you're not Superwoman. Kevin Hart left, he left his wife for another woman. It happens once in a while where a man leaves his wife for another woman. Let's see, Kevin Hart did it. Steve Harvey did it. Chris Rock, well, his wife dumped him, because he was out there cheating. He regrets that. Says it in his comedy special. He should have appreciated his wife instead of being out there cheating. Men sometimes learn the hard way. It's not worth it to be out there cheating until they lose their wife. In which that's when some of them have the opportunity to go back to their wives and be kept. Whereas others, they don't. The wives divorce them. But I guarantee you, if you get them and they got divorced and they realize that they lost a good woman for you, they will resent you. And they will treat you as such. And you'll wonder, well, what happened? He loved me and he left me for his wife. I thought he loved me. He resents you because he realized his wife, you don't compare to his wife. No offense. Some of you will not compare to the wife. Let's say if he does act like he's happy with you, eventually he's going to cheat. And I'm going to tell you why. Because he's going to say to himself, well, she was okay with me cheating and having an affair with her while I was married to my previous wife. So it should be no issue for her to understand that this is how I am. This is what I do. And she probably should, she'll be okay with knowing that while I'm married to her, I'll go and have other affairs with other women as well, because she was okay with me doing this with her, with my other wife, previous wife. That's something else to think about. And that's exactly what Kevin Hart did, right? Left his wife for another woman, married the other woman, and as soon as the other woman's pregnant, he out here cheating on her. And the other woman really couldn't say nothing. You know why? Besides the fact that he's rich, cha-ching, and that's probably what she was thinking in the first place. But she realizes, well, damn, he left me. I mean, he left her for me. He left his other wife for me. So what could I expect? He out here doing the same thing that he did to her. He's doing it to me now, because this is his way, this is behavior, and this is what he thinks I find acceptable. So, you know what I'm saying? And it's not to say that this will happen in every situation in which someone leaves someone for someone else. With women, that's a rarity. If a woman leaves her husband for another man, she truly probably was unhappy and was looking for the right person, looking for the real love or whatever. I'm not being biased. I'm going based off of what I know, based off of what I have seen in real life. From real life people, real life experiences, not just TV, real life people that I know. Okay? So it's not to say that you can take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Nothing I'm saying is necessarily untrue or biased. It's just, it is what it is. Keeping it real. So I'm just going to end on that note. Have standards. Investigate. Don't accept things just because you're vulnerable. Realize that you may be in a vulnerable state if you are the other woman and dealing with a married man. And if you're in a vulnerable state, and 9 times out of 10, many of you are, because the average woman who is who is operating in high vibrational energy, who is happy in her life, regardless if she has a man or not, or whatever. If she has standards for the kind of love she truly wants, which is good, healthy, blessed love, good, healthy love where she doesn't have to share anyone. Like I said, I'm not judging. Some people are fine with sharing people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not judging that. But if you're the kind of person you don't want to share anyone, and you want someone exclusively for you, and you want good, healthy love with them, you're not going to go for a married man or sharing someone necessarily at all if you're not vulnerable. So pay attention to if you're in a vulnerable state or not. I'm going to do a video later on about vulnerability in being in a vulnerable state and how it's dangerous, because it can allow you to accept things, people, and situations you normally would not accept if you were in a non-vulnerable, healthier energy, in a healthier peace of mind and state. Okay? And I'm not saying you're unhealthy or anything's wrong with you. I'm just saying that your energy is not in the positive, or not where it should be if you're in a vulnerable state. Your energy is in a negative state if you're vulnerable in that way, to where you're willing to accept dealing with a married man, instead of releasing him and allowing the universe, that if you're meant to be, to bring them back to you single, if that's what you want, is a monogamous relationship with them. I don't recommend anybody sharing a husband, somebody else's husband. I don't recommend it. I'm not judging, but I don't recommend it, because at the end of the day, let's say if you feel like you're happy and you're satisfied with whatever you're gaining out of that kind of situation, the wife may not be happy or satisfied with that. She may be hurting on the other's end if she ever found out, or if she did find out. It's also dangerous to you, because that wife might want to harm you, or you may be tearing apart a family, and some of you may say, I don't care. Not all of you, but somebody out there saying, I don't care. What about me? You're setting up bad karmic energy for yourself. And what goes around comes around, whether you realize it or not. What goes around come around. Maybe it may not come through you. Maybe it may come through your children that you may have one day. Never assume you're not going to have any children if you don't have any. But it's just not a lot good, or any good really, that can come out of that situation, unless that is a couple that has an open marriage, like Jada Pinkett and Will Smith. Jada Pinkett and Will Smith, everybody knows, that's a well-known secret, but yet it's not a secret that they have an open marriage. They're swingers or whatever. And they've been happy for all the years they've been together, because they have a trust with each other, that they allow each other to deal with other people, especially as long as, I guess, is somebody that maybe that they approve of. I don't know. Maybe they have an open policy, as long as they know what they're doing. I don't know, but they have an open marriage. It's worked out for them. But if you don't know this couple, this married couple, has an open marriage, and that you all are okay with whatever's going on, then like I said, I don't recommend sharing anybody's husband. You can go out there and get your own. There's plenty of people out here, plenty of soulmates. We don't have just one soulmate. We have so many. And that whole thing about the twin soul, there's some things I believe, there's some things I don't. And from what I'm aware of, and from what I've experienced, we have more than one twin soul possibility. I wouldn't get too caught up in this whole thing of twin souls and soulmates, because even though I'm a very spiritual person, that shit, excuse my language, can get you into a hot pool of water, because you are, a person could be so hell-bent, but this is my soulmate, but this is my twin soul. So what? That don't mean you should be involved with them in a situation that's not necessarily a good situation or a healthy situation, because somebody's going to get hurt. It's either going to be you, or it's going to be the wife. It might even be the guy, but 9 times out of 10, the married man is not the one that's going to get hurt. he got somebody to go back to. So say if you do dump him, he can still go back to his wife unless she divorces him. Or he will go and find other women to deal with. If you're not willing to be the other women, he'll go find other women. Married men, and that's something else you got to realize. Married men who have other women out here who are, they 9 times out of 10, you're not the only one. They have more than one. Sometimes they're dealing with one at a time. So if things don't work out between you, they'll move on to the next one. Whereas you got some, they got more than one at the same time, where they'll jump from you and go visit Sally on the other side of town on the days you're not seeing them. You know what I'm saying? So that's the other thing to consider. Don't ever think you're just the only one and assume or even believe that you are this special woman to this married man. 9 times out of 10, you're not. And he's not going to allow you to believe that you're not, because you believing that you're someone special to him and that you're making him happy is the key to him continuing to see you and get what it is that he wants and needs from you, such as an ego boost, such as the affection, such as the sex, the connection or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Let him get that connection from you when he's free, completely free to do it, meaning he's not tied down to anyone else. And never wish on someone else's marriage to fall apart, especially based on what he tells you about the wife. It's always, most times out of 10, a lie. Most times, okay? Even when you think you see the wife clowning and you think she's clowning you, there's still another side to the story. Her side, which 9 times out of 10, you haven't heard her side. And you don't want to believe her side because it goes against the notion that you're there to remedy whatever it is that she did wrong or isn't doing. And it will make you feel like you're the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? Or make him appear to be the bad guy. And many times y'all don't want to believe that. So you guys have to take some accountability and say, well, am I really being honest with myself? Because if you are being honest with yourself, there's no way in most cases or situations that dealing with a married woman, dealing with a married man, I don't know why I say woman, because this is a video for the women, about the men. There's no way that dealing with a married man and you're the other woman / side chick, that you are being done right by, okay? You're just not. And you're not even doing right by yourself. And this is not judgment. This is me actually giving a care about you. So to the other woman that say, I care about you, and I feel your vulnerability, your pain, I can see the other side of the coin. I really can. Some of you out here telling yourselves, well, I just want the sex. There's plenty of single men out here you can get that from, without causing havoc and building bad karma for yourself. Some of you will say, well, he gives me things that these single men aren't. Or he ain't needy and blah, blah, blah. You got plenty of single men out here. They're not needy. They'll give you things or whatever. There is someone for everyone out here for whatever your situation is. But it's not someone else's husband, though. It's never somebody else's husband. And to convince yourself of that for any reason, it's not going to work in your favor. It's not a healthy thing. Okay? It's not me wishing bad on you. It's just the truth based off of a lot of different situations I've seen in real life, from real life people I actually know in my own experiences. Okay? So, I wish you guys well. Sorry this video was long, but if you had the sense enough to speed it up to 1.5 or times 2, or to save this video for when you actually have the time to watch it, then kudos to you, because everything that I said needed to be said. Somebody's going to benefit from it, and that's why I'm glad to do these videos, because my goal here is not just to do the readings for you guys and to keep you guys addicted to these readings and being hopeful and looking for the cards to tell you that tomorrow, your situation is going to be magical or something. If it is, then great. But I'm just saying, like, some of you have real situations out here with real issues, and you need actual therapeutic life coaching, counseling, or something. I consider this more to be life coaching. But like I said, I'm not a professional psychiatrist or therapist or counselor. So you have to use your own discernment, your own good common sense. But what I'm sharing with you is my own wisdom from and my own realizations from experiences of others that I know that are close to me, in my own experiences and things that I just know to be true. You know, I'm not some young, well, I tell you this much. I'm not in my 20s. I'm in my 30s. Okay. Um, I didn't seen enough. I didn't seen enough. Okay. I didn't seen enough. You don't get to be in your 30s and not experience things and not see other people you know close to you experience things and see things from both sides of the coin. You know, I know quite a bit, so I'm speaking from real wisdom. Okay. And my parents are very old school. You know, my dad is a baby boomer. You know, my mom is like, she's at that borderline of baby boomers. My parents are not. They're very wise, because their age is like. My dad is in his 70s. My mom is in her 50s. So wisdom that I've gotten from them and my grandmother, invaluable, priceless. They done seen enough themselves, and nothing changes between generations when it comes to these situations of the married man and the other woman slash side chick. Doesn't change generation to generation. I mean, some things change. The only things is now it's gotten a million times worse because women have taken this whole being liberated too far. Ain't nothing wrong with being independent, having a career, doing your own thing, and feeling like you don't have to wait for someone to, or feeling like you don't have to worry about people judging you if you want to have casual sex. All I'm saying is be careful about having casual sex out here and not holding standards to the men you're dealing with, because this will leave you vulnerable to getting caught up in situations where you find out you're the other chick. You know? That's all I'm saying, because I didn't seen it happen to people before. So anyway, peace. That's it. Love. I'll be doing some readings later on.